In the golden heart of Baghdad, where merchants sang and the tigress whispered, a young dreamer named Sinbad longed for adventure. He was born among traders, but his spirit belonged to the sea. Every day, he wandered the markets, dreaming of faraway lands beyond the desert winds. One dawn, destiny called him to the harbor, where ships waited like sleeping giants. His heart raced as he stepped toward a ship that promised the unknown. The captain smiled at the young man's courage, unaware of the storms ahead. And so began Sinbad's first voyage beneath the banners of fortune and fate. Under the velvet sky, he felt the rhythm of the sea calling to his soul. The moonlight danced on the waves, whispering secrets of endless horizons. But calm seas never made great sailors. The heavens themselves began to test him. A single wave rose higher than a mountain and swallowed him whole. In that endless blue silence, time vanished and only fate remained. When he awoke, the sea had spared him cast ashore upon a forgotten paradise. The island breathed with life, a jewel of green and gold beneath the rising sun. Weary but alive, he rose to meet the unknown. Every step took him deeper into nature's secret kingdom. He kneels by a clear stream, drinking water. Then he saw it, an egg as large as a house, shining like polished marble. Wonder and fear wrestled within him, for such beauty could only mean danger. Suddenly, the sky darkened, and the king of the skies descended. Sinbad trembled as the giant bird protected its treasure with fury. The creature's feathers gleamed like molten gold, its cry shaking the heavens. Desperate for escape, he tied himself to the great bird's leg, trusting destiny once more. Up, up, they soared higher than the clouds, higher than fear. The wind roared in his ears, yet his heart sang with wonder. When they descended, he found himself among mountains rich with mystery and gold. The valley glimmered with jewels and the slither of death, and stones covered in gold. A deep valley of sparkling jewels and filled with giant snakes. The valley glimmered with jewels and the slither of death, and Sinbad gazed at the sight in amazement. He held a ruby of impossible beauty, worth more than kingdoms. Its sparkle was reflected in his brown eyes. But in the Valley of Diamonds, fortune never comes without a price. Armed with nothing but courage, he waited for his chance to survive. Sunlight reflected off its green and golden scales. He hid in silence as the serpent moved, like a living river of jewels. The hiss of the beast echoed through the stone, a reminder of his fragility. Fate intervened once more. The sky's king battled the serpent of the earth. The battle shook the valley. Light and shadow locked in furious dance. While titans fought, the sailor fled, swift as wind, silent as fear. Below him, the earth glittered a treasure vast as the sky above. He took only what he could carry. Wisdom had tempered his greed. Then, like a miracle, he saw men's salvation glittering brighter than jewels. Their cries reached him, their bright garments waving like banners of life. He called out with all his strength, his voice answered by mercy. The traders, wise in the ways of danger, found a way to bring him home. Trusting strangers more than the stones below, he placed his fate in their hands. When his feet touched safe ground, his heart swelled with gratitude. The gems he carried told stories of danger, courage, and the divine. They welcomed him as a brother, the lost son of the ocean. And beneath the stars, Sinbad spoke of storms, serpents, and miracles. His words carried the scent of salt and wine, the language of wanderers. Sleep eluded him, for the sea was still whispering his name. As dawn broke, the desert shimmered like liquid gold, camels resting and golden sand dunes visible. Once more, he rode toward the horizon, the sailor of endless stories. Across the golden sea of sand, they journeyed toward home and legend. Time itself slept beneath the dunes, empires reduced to whispers. He bowed his head, knowing every stone once held a dream like his. Sinbad pauses, gazing with curiosity. He parted with the men who had become his brothers, their blessings following the wind. Thus ended his first voyage and began the legend of Sinbad the Sailor. As the ship left the harbor, Sinbad felt the ocean's pulse, once more the call of destiny. His hair moves in the breeze. Sunrise glows on his face. The second voyage began with calm seas and hopeful hearts. Sailors adjust ropes. Gulls circle above. The captain warned of strange islands where no man should tread, but Sinbad's curiosity was boundless. The ship drifts near a lush, misty island. Sinbad gazes at the island with awe. Something deep within him whispered adventure awaited there. With courage as his compass, he set foot once more upon the unknown. The air shimmered with magic. This was no ordinary island. He reached for a jewel that grew on branches, beauty beyond reason. But beauty often hides its own curse. The island began to move. What they thought was land revealed itself, a living mountain of the sea. Sinbad's voice cut through the chaos. To the boats, now! The beast rose with thunder, hurling men like leaves before a storm. The sea creature lifts higher, tossing boats. Sinbad clings to driftwood amid crashing waves. When he awoke, he found himself beneath a moon that watched in silence. Bones of forgotten monsters marked the edge of the world. The water sparkled like starlight, as if the heavens wept for him. When dawn returned, so did his will to survive. The earth glittered beneath his feet, riches that kings would kill for. Even in despair, fate offered him another treasure, perhaps too generous. But danger walks hand in hand, with fortune beasts soon surrounded him. He faced them not as prey, but as a sailor who had defied the sea itself. The light of dawn scattered the monsters, for even darkness fears the sun. Light gleams on their wet fur. Sinbad breathes in relief. For the first time in days, he tasted warmth, the simple miracle of life. His face was calm and his eyes thoughtful. Then, like a whisper from destiny, sails appeared upon the sea. His hope blazed like fire, a lone man defying the vast ocean. Kind eyes met his across the waves. Strangers turned saviors. And once again, fortune lifted him from the jaws of despair. Sinbad stares at the horizon as the ship sails. The captain welcomed him as if meeting a lost brother of the sea. With every wave, he felt his heart grow lighter, a sailor reborn. And thus ended another voyage, but the sea had many more stories to tell. Though riches filled his home, Sinbad's heart remained restless. The sea still called his name. Once more, destiny pulled him toward the horizon, where fortune and peril walked as one. The wind carried their laughter, unaware of what awaited beyond the calm. Then the laughter vanished, swallowed by thunder and wrath. The sea took what it desired, wood, men, and dreams alike. But Sinbad, born of storms, refused to drown. When dawn came, he found himself upon an island shaped by fire and fear. Riches lay beside ruin, a warning written in silence. Then came the sound of doom, the giant who feasted on men. Terror ruled the night, as the creature's hunger knew no end. Yet courage was his compass. He would not die cowering, Sinbad whispers to the survivors. Firelight flickers on his determined face. Together, they forged their only weapon, the fire of defiance. The glow lights their faces in red and gold. With one strike of fate, the hunter became the hunted. Flames burst. The creature roars in agony. They fled through smoke and flame, reborn from terror's ashes. Hope, fragile as driftwood, became their vessel. Sinbad ties ropes with steady hands. In solitude, he found his truest companion, endurance. The sea demanded courage, and Sinbad paid in strength and will. Sinbad grips the edge, shouting over the wind. He drifts alone again, the raft broken. Seabirds circle overhead. He reaches another island lush green, sunlight piercing through mist. Sinbad finds wild horses with silver manes drinking from a lake. He approaches cautiously, admiration in his eyes. Men in shining silver armor appear, carrying spears. The leader speaks to Sinbad. They guide Sinbad into a city of white stone and blue domes. The ship sails into the golden sunset, ready to return home. Inside the royal hall, the king sits on a golden throne, wearing robes of emerald and white. He offered the treasures of peril proof of courage beyond measure. The king smiles and gestures for food and drink to be brought to Sinbad. Gratitude filled his heart as the winds turned once again toward Baghdad. And thus ended his third voyage, another chapter in a tale the world would never forget. Sinbad stands in Baghdad once more, wealth before him. Yet his eyes wander to the sea beyond the palace window. The city sang with life, but Sinbad heard only the song of the ocean. At the docks, he boards a great ship painted in blue and gold, sails billowing. The ship glides over emerald waters, seagulls circling above. Dark clouds rise. Sinbad clings to driftwood as thunder roars above and lightning splits the sky. When he opened his eyes, the sea had spared him once again. By the stream sits an old man, frail and silent, his eyes dark and ancient. The old man gestures for Sinbad to carry him across the stream. Sinbad, in kindness, bends to help. The old man climbs onto Sinbad's shoulders. His legs, thin but strong, wrap around Sinbad's neck. Then came the truth he would never let go. He tightens his hold. Days pass as Sinbad walks under a burning sun. The old man rides his shoulders, laughing softly. But where kindness failed, wit would prevail. The creature drinks greedily and grows drunk, laughing wildly. When drunkenness clouded cruelty, Sinbad saw his chance. Sinbad seizes a stone and strikes the old man, who falls lifeless. And thus ended the reign of the old man of the sea. Sinbad collapses, breathing hard, tears and sweat on his face. Later, Sinbad finds merchants gathering pearls on the island's coast. He shows them rare shells and tells his tale. The men listen. The merchants give him fine clothes, a green robe, and gold belt. They also give him a place aboard their ship. The ship sails under stars, the sea calm and silver. Sinbad gazes at the horizon, his reflection in the dark water. They reach a distant port filled with light and music. He walks through the markets, selling pearls and spices. He is surrounded by curious traders. Sinbad, dressed finely again, steps onto the deck of a homebound ship.